Thank you and good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about psychosis medication. Today we're going to talk about how ADHD medication can cause psychosis. Certain ADHD meds, ADHD teens and young adults, may be more likely to cause symptoms of paranoia or hallucinations, delusions, or in hearing voices. A new study suggests that researchers found patients that have been newly prescribed amphetamines, Ritalin,
Adderall,
Vyvanse were more likely to develop psychosis than those who received a prescription for
methylphenidates,
such as Ritalin. While psychosis is a class of medications, it's still relatively rare, occurring in rate of 1 in 660 patients. Experts caused that the patient should know about the increase of the risk. They also need to be noted that the increased risk was only who recently began treatment with a new amphetamine prescription for ADHD, that those who take a drug and tolerated it well should not be concerned. If someone has been on Adderall, they're tolerating its helpful symptoms they're taking prescribed, they're really not much for concern, said the study led by the author of Dr. Lauren Murray, assistant professor, Harvard Medical School, a psychiatrist at McLean Hospital. Still, you have to think about it from a public health scale, Maroon added. If it's a fraction of a percent of millions of people, that means there could be thousands of additional cases of psychosis across the United States. And keep that in mind. That's a serious problem. Amphetamine prescriptions to treat ADHD have been steadily increasing for concern. At the beginning of the study of 2005, 50-50 chance of getting Adderall or Ritalin. There have been huge increases in Adderall prescriptions over the course of the study, almost 4 times as many prescriptions for Adderall, Maroon said. As a number of students, Maroon decided to further look into the issue. What she found is that common factoring among the cases seemed to amphetamine prescriptions for ADHD. With a stimulant prescription, the researchers focused on the outpatients of 13 to 25 of who started taking either amphetamines or methamphetamines from January 1, 2004 to September 30th of 2015. Among those patients, 221,846 patients included the study. 110,923 were taking
methylphenidate,
and 110,923 were taking
amphetamines.
The study focused on the new user of the medication. New causes of psychosis identifies 106 patients taking
methylphenidate
as compared to 237 taking in the atmosphere
amphetamines.
That nearly double the rate. I also have schizophrenia, and doctors have recommended that I don't take ADHD medications. It could cause psychosis. Now I know why. I was 15 and it if a lot of anxiety for me. It could even be worse than I know now that I have schizoaffective disorder. I could have psychosis. For that reason, I am starting to understand the reason that my doctors won't prescribe those meds for me. And I will not try it. That explains to me why I can't try ADHD medication. Men Adult ADHD book. When you lay down the processing will make it easier. Quite frankly, a way to get a good grade is to lay down the process of planning and what we talked about in those podcasts. People are going to get intelligence to complete your goal. It's hard if you're not specific, especially and people with ADHD are capable. Don't think that that's different if you have ADHD. ADHD is a hobbling.
Haunting.
We need to help the doctors now. For me, I can't do the meds. So I've tried this new coffee called Everyday Dough. I will link it up. It has helped me with my anxiety and ADHD. I will put the link up there for that. The support of family coworkers is important. We have a recline of our gifts and how important this world is. ADHD is not affected, it's not a deficit. You may be a little hyper, and it is a position you need to live in with ADHD. There is this fire and anxiety, but interfere with love and conditions show them how ADHD is potential to have success. Set your goals and set them right, and you'll do better. And set your strategies of where to put things. That's my message. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's.
In Health Watch, a new study is showing a link between medication prescribed for ADHD and psychosis. The study was published by the New England Journal of Medicine. The percentages are very low, but it showed patients who are prescribed amphetamines like Adderall had a slightly higher risk of developing psychosis compared to those who received other types of ADHD medication like Ritalin.
Dr. Lauren Moran is assistant professor at Harvard Medical School and a psychiatrist at McLean Hospital. She's also the lead author of that study. So let's talk about this, doctor. Just sort of walk us through the basics of the study. What did it conclude?
So we basically looked at new users, people who are being prescribed these medications for the first time. And we compared amphetamines, those which was like Adderall or Vyvanse, to people who were prescribed methylphenidate, which is like Ritalin or Concerta. And we found that the Adderall type drugs had an increased risk of psychosis.
So explain. Sorry, doctor, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's okay.
So I think there's a little bit of a delay. So what is psychosis and why are the findings here concerning?
Psychosis is hallucinations where people might hear voices that other people don't hear, and delusions where people have kind of false beliefs. They might think, for example, like the government's following them or that they're in danger, someone's out to get them, or they might, on the other hand, think that they have special powers or think that they're God. And often when people develop psychosis, they don't have insight, so they don't even realize that they're impaired. They think these things are really happening. It's very scary. And for our study, we only counted people who developed psychosis and had a visit with a doctor, either inpatient or outpatient. and needed to be prescribed an antipsychotic medication.
So listen, I know that there are going to be a lot of parents that are going to be hearing this or seeing a headline and not reading the whole thing, and they're going to start to get really concerned. Maybe their child is recently diagnosed or has been diagnosed for a while, has been on these drugs for a while. What do you say to those parents?
I think one of the things that's really important about the study is that we only looked at new users, and it seemed that the risk of this happening happens early on in treatment. Most of the psychotic episodes happened in the first several months of treatment. So I think if you have a child who's taking Adderall or Vyvanse and they've been taking it as prescribed and they're benefiting from its treating their symptoms, there's no reason to take them off. This is really something that people should be considering when they're first starting. One of the things that we noticed with the prescribing trends is that for unclear reasons to me, the use of amphetamines has gone up dramatically, especially in this age group, which was 13 to 25-year-olds. And so it seems that doctors are choosing to start people on Adderall, even though existing guidelines kind of suggest that both stimulants have similar effectiveness. So I think there just needs to be a dialogue between patients and doctors about why they're choosing Adderall over the Ritalin-type drugs. And I think it's probably more of a concern if you have other risk factors for psychosis, for example, a family history of bipolar or a psychotic disorder. I might shy away from Adderall in patients with that kind of history.
So